Okay, thank you.
Right?
My husband insists I learn more about all this techie stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, he learned more about being more supportive. Very
Oh
supportive. And listen, he's very supportive.
yeah.
It's always the next level of whatever it is.
Right, that's right. But see, that's interesting because it's the next level to learning and it's the next level to support.
Yes. I had a matcha with a cute little place by the LA River today, boardwalk. And we're talking, and she was saying, what I think about, I guess, all that's taking place. I said, I don't know that I'm thinking about any of it.
Hmm.
I said, yeah,
Yeah. What do you mean? Why, like politics and Jimmy Kimmel, Charlie Kirk, all of that?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I said, if I were going to think about all the hoopla about, for example, Charlie Kirk now that's occupying the news, I said I would think about the young man, Trey Reed, who and a few other people who were hung on Mississippi campus. I would think about Emmett Till, whose anniversary is now. I would think about in the South when they could just lynch people and could just beat black men into their grave and it was okay. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you think about violence, it can't be okay. Violence cannot be okay by whatever name, race, creed, or gender,
Yeah. Right. That's right.
you know? And so I would know how to have an isolated conversation.
I think it touches different people. See, different things touch people in different ways. So, did you know this? Did you hear this? And it's true, as far as I can really tell. George Floyd and Charlie Kirk had the same birthday.
I didn't know that.
Right. And so, like, I think they're 20 years apart, exact to the day. And the deaths, and they both died. Somebody said both died of neck injuries. And it's not funny, but um, the touch hits closer to home for everyone. It's the same touch.
Exactly.
There are people that even as a pastor, but some people are like, so and so died. I can't believe my mama died. And I'm not touched. I allow myself to like walk with them, but I choose to. I allow myself, I open myself to walk with them. And then I'm like, of course they're touched, of course. And so suddenly, of course he's 31, and of course he was a hero to people, however you feel, however you slice it. But 31, wife and kids, like that's really, that was messed up. And then he had the ear of the president, hate him or love him, he is the president of the United States and all this stuff, and it's a huge deal. It really does, it has touched some folks, in a way that I could choose, I could open myself to feel that touch or not.
Well, I'm touched by the repercussions because the repercussions from George Floyd, there's a backlash to that. There's a backlash reaction. Like the Me Too, the Black Lives Matter. There's a backlash to Black Lives Matter as a result
Mm-hmm.
of George Floyd being violently killed by an
Yes.
officer of the law. So
Mm-hmm.
now here we are, you know, and then those who were touched by uh, I'm touched by that there's a backlash to this particular act, and yet there was issues with Black Lives movement, which was nonviolent. Black Lives Matter was a nonviolent response.
Yeah. Well, I get it. Yes.
Was
We'll
an,
see. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so I'm just saying that if especially all the idea about religion and whatever, with all the ideas about whatever,
Mm-hmm.
how is it that they're seen differently by those who are now want to make laws and make this a federal holiday? I mean, what happened to that? I'm just
Because you
saying that
touch,
if you're going to
yeah.
think about it, you may as well be inclusive. You may as well really think
Right.
about it. Otherwise, you're reacting and not thinking.
Yeah. But see, are you in anything, there's a lash and a backlash.
Mhm.
So George Floyd was lashed.
Yeah, it was a
Black
lash.
Lives Matter is the backlash, and then with the backlash, there's a re-backlash to where the white people said, no to DEI and Black Lives Matter. Now, so there's a lash, there's a backlash. It hits close to home. This one hit close to home for them. He was lashed. Our backlash, they're like, oh, national emergency holiday. Our backlash is, ain't none of my business, child. Oh well. Right. And now they say, see, you niggas, I told you niggas, see. And it never ends. So are you on the lash or are you on the backlash? It just depends on how close to home did the touch when it touched.
Yeah, but I think the backlash is in response to the lash that non-whites have been undergoing for a long time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a selective backlash because I think the backlash is in response to Black Lives Movement. It was like a worldwide, like, wait a minute, hold on. And a response, a reaction to an act of violence. And I think the backlash is a response to let's shut that down because they don't see that was an appropriate response because all lives matter. Yes, we understand, but it's time to recognize that all lives matter. I know for sure that hasn't been recognized universally on this planet, on this place called U.S.
Yeah, Western
so
society.
I'm just saying that as long as we're going to engage in thinking distinct from a reactive reaction, let's really open this up and really sort things out and really take a look. Is any of this acceptable? Is any of this is okay? None of it's okay.
Yeah.
None of it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I go, oh, none of this is okay. But almost all my days, so much has not been okay.
Yeah. But see, here the all shit though is, you gotta love Charlie Kirk like you love George Floyd and say never again, enough is enough, it's all bad. And that's the all shit.
Yeah, but to me, George Floyd and Kirk, they both lives were taken due to hate. Mm-hmm. Now, what I find currently has my attention, there's a spin been put on hate for a particular purpose, which has nothing to do with either one of these men.
Right.
If I were gonna engage thinking, I would come, well, well, what about, like really examining the thinking or where the thinking is coming from. The thinking is coming from someplace. Whether it's the culture, whether it's close in terms of ethnicity and race or whatever, but we have to all of that has to be sorted out. Otherwise, we proceed without progress.
Yeah. Yes, right. And we can probably go a little deeper than this, but I will say while we're thinking about it, that the Jimmy Kimmel though. He didn't have enough ratings, because if he really had enough people watching it, he would have been all right. But people aren't watching it.
Well, I think he didn't have enough money behind him.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, if he was really had people, and then that's more advertisers and more popularity and more pull, he could have said what he wanted.
Well, I look at it this way. Jimmy Kimmel was an employee, so he is an expense. He costs money.
Yeah.
They're interested in receiving more money.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever has the greater soul to the machinery of capitalism, it's like, what's the more valuable benefit? The income of more money, or the ensuring that we retain our projected income or current income to get more, or are we at risk of losing our income? We're losing. So that that's an interesting conversation, because Jimmy Kimmel, his ratings weren't that low, or he would have been off the air a long time ago. So,
They were pretty low. They were pretty low. They've been steadily declining for over 10 years. They were pretty low.
but has it been addressed though in the last couple of years? In the last 6 months, has it been addressed?
They just addressed it.
Yeah, what they address, but they address it based on pressure. So they say, based on like they were coerced, they were let's say forced based on U.S. dollars. I'm just saying. Now, so they say, oh, your ratings aren't sufficient. Okay, but it had nothing to do. I don't think it had anything to do with this ratings. I personally, I mean, I don't even know how they think. I don't know enough to think about it. But I'm suspicious. I have there's such a, I think, and I'm not the only one suspicious. I'm everything is suspect.
Yeah. No, but see, that's yes, I agree, and that's maybe a larger conversation of, because you started this off, you said, everything going on in the news. But see, my question, even as a kid, was, where does the news come from? So I would be listening to just news radio growing up, riding in the car, and they would say, this is fresh off the wire, and then they would say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, well, who wrote the wire, though?
Yeah.
Because they would act like, this is off the wire. And then I would say, well, who wrote the wire? So that is all a machination of what gets out, what doesn't get out. They release certain stuff on a Monday. They release certain stuff on a Friday because it's going into the weekend. And it's always been that way. And that is all a part of, that just gets everyone like, oh, my Lord, I don't know what's going on. And then really, as we all get in a frenzy, oh, Lord, what happened now, Lord?
Yeah.
We're really enjoying it, actually. Yeah. We're enjoying it.
Which begs the question, what makes the news news? Because here's the thing. You have so many, take airplanes. Mostly they fly, no accidents. But the ones that crash makes the news. How about the ones that fly without crashing? Is that not news? So what's the distinction between the ones that fly safely and the ones that crash? To me, it's sensationalism. Because so news is to sensationalize. So I'm thinking, so what makes the news news?
Right. What makes it news? That's good. And I mean, my thinking is that it is something novel, something scandalous, something that really does tug at lower chakras, and they can broadcast it, and something new that you didn't know before. But that's why I say, if it bleeds, it leads. It's not just, hey, there were 7,000 successful successful flights today. That's not news. But if I say, oh, shit, did you see what happened at TWA or whatever, American Airlines?
So do you mean to stimulate upsets, to stimulate drama?
Yeah, I do. Fear,
to stimulate people being reacted? Is the purpose of the news?
Yes.
Now that's a worthy conversation.
Yeah, now we go a little further.
But what makes that so? What makes that profitable? What makes that money makers? That says that's profit.
Yeah.
In creating drama, sensationalism, upset, fear.
Yes.
So that says, because it's all that says, you can count dollars, you can predict the dollars, because you can say, I have this many people watching. Take any of the different channels, who's their audience. Oh, well, this is too much money to have these people go away, and so these people, we care about them, but not really. So I'm saying, and so
no, that's right. So there is the economy is attention. Like even now, you're on social media. How long you keep your eyeballs on it dictates how much money they will pay these people.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but what gets your eyeballs is certain frequencies that are, actually, if you really sat down and thought about it, which they thought about this 100 years ago, of the frequencies that will get people like, and then some frequencies, 9/11. Now we're watching TV for 12 hours straight. And it is a commercial enterprise. Maybe another way of understanding it is energy. When the whole city is like this, Lord, look at that building burn down, Lord, and the whole city's watching Channel 7, there is an energetic coming off of each person.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then there is a collective mass hysteria that now, if I took it back to, just a little bit of fire and brimstone,
Hmm.
there is a force, just like there's a light, there's a darkness that feeds off of, just like, if I've chosen to feed off of love, peace, serendipity, positivity, heart centered, goodness, gracious, truth. But see, that's just one side of the coin.
Exactly. Is that, and here's the thing, like this, it's like when drama and upset and fear and anger on a collective scale, because it's all energy, it's vibrational frequency, resonant
Mm-hmm.
frequency. So all who are vibrating at that frequency intensifies. So then that becomes source in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes
Yeah.
creator in the matter, equivalent to what one might call God in the matter.
Yeah. You feed off of, real quick. You feed off of it. And yeah, it's known that everyone is feeding off of it. And when you're not in peace, all is well, abundance, my needs are supplied, now you got to go spend some money to get yourself right. And they know it.
But here's
So
the,
they generate it.
it's true, but when you're moved into action by that, because that's the nature of power. If you can move someone into action, if you can move someone into action, I mean, if they bow to that frequency,
Yeah.
isn't that equivalent to the fall within what you call God, or fall
Yes.
call God? But you fall from your highest potential. Your highest, like the map of consciousness by David Hawkins. The lowest frequency is from shame and near not much possibility.
Yeah.
Way through to the, so you got to look at it, especially for all this evangelical religious BS they're talking. If you really look
Mm-hmm.
at it biblically, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you can, it's like, oh, let's see what's really taking place. You have fallen, you have stepped down,
Yeah.
departed the Garden of Eden, your highest self, your highest potential, or the ideal. The name of Jesus means that the ideal of what we call the ideal source, the ideal. And so you look at it that way, go, oh, there's a lot going on beyond what the way things appear, because there's a purpose for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a purpose
Yeah.
for all of this. And and,
Yeah.
and here's the thing, it's all mathematically predictable. They can look
Yeah.
like this because this is the way everything is predictable mathematically.
Yeah.
So when you look at, oh, and some people are masterful, at moving people into action based on stimulus, which is energetic response. You can see
Yeah.
it happening. And so when what happened was such a deep touch worldwide, you got Black Lives Matter. That was a deep touch. It was unexpected. This had
Yep.
not been foreseen. This kind of response had not been foreseen. It's the
Mm-hmm.
first time, and I'm 83. It's the first time it's been this deep and this far reaching and this much response to it.
Yep.
When you look at the history of violence in this country, the history of violence, okay, in this country,
Yes.
when you look at the history of violence in this country, that was unexpected and not foreseen. So this whole other project, that number they're talking about, is if you ever read the Willie Lynch papers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's reloaded. It's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
reloaded. And so when you think about it that way, it's not time, it's not time to be in hate at all. It's
Yes.
not time to be in fear at all. It's not time to be in to be in a divided consciousness, because it will fall. The house divided against itself, consciousness divided will not prevail. So when you look at it that way, it's like, oh, this is really the time for the type of messages that you give on Sunday morning at guidance. It's time for those kind of messages where we can go, look, wait a minute, like we can wait a minute, let's stop and let's see, let's begin to think or to examine uh what has us thinking what we're thinking, what has us feeling what we're feeling. Where's that coming from? It's time to re-examine everything. Let's
Yeah.
continue. So when it says let's we continue to study war when we're supposed to cease, that gets very much.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of messages you give us on Sunday morning in my listening at guidance. And so I think that is a broader message, the broader broadcast that we're
Yeah.
looking for. So when
Yeah.
I'm out and about, I'll mention my church guidance or mention my minister, Dr. Seth, or mention the type of messages. And I think that there's a higher minute, there's a higher minute, there's a minute, there is ministry called for like never before.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah,
And all of these things that we're looking at, this says, oh, there's something called for, something further called for.
yes, right.
Something,
And that, yeah. And I just gotta say, yeah. I mean, I feel that. I really feel
yes.
that, and I feel like they say in the Bible, a voice cried out in the wilderness.
Well, yeah, it is.
And I'm really because
It is.
when people are. Because I mean, a lot of see the black white thing. You got to really, really, really look at it
Well, yeah,
because
you do.
it's almost easier to get in the pulpit this week, last week, and just start yelling
Yeah,
about
because you feel like that. You feel like that.
yeah, about 400 years, and you really could. You could, and it could be real good too.
Yes.
But like to your point, see, because there's about to be a White Lives Matter off of this.
Yes.
There really is. And see, they already had it. You thought they mattered. You get ready. And the only way you're going to beat that, and they got, because they ain't going to, now Jimmy Kimmel, are they going to replace Jimmy Kimmel with the founder of Black Lives Matter, or are they going to replace him with, Billy Schmicky?
See, here's what's called for. Life matters. That's what's called for. Life matters.
Yeah.
That's what's called for. Everybody, life matters.
Yeah.
I was having lunch with a friend. He said, her husband was a white man. I said, no, he's a man who is white. He's not a white man. He is a man who is white.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
I'm a woman who is black.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a woman who is a mother. I'm a woman who is a wife. You're a man who is all that, who is love, who is all of that. There's so many more adjectives.
Yeah, and then I can say I'm a being of consciousness who is a man who is black.
I mean, there's lots of adjectives, okay? Mm-hmm. and so I'm just saying that there's so much more. We're thinking too narrow.
Yes.
We're thinking too narrow. Well, and something I really, I feel so much more expensive. In the last few days, I told you my dad's in the hospital at 101, and so I was just being with all of the things that are taking place now, and I'm thinking, I say, Eric, there is being, and then there's being with. What is this distinction between being and being with? If you say human being, okay, so what is that talking about? If I say being, what is that talking about? If I say being with, what is that talking about? So I just think we have to begin to talk more about what we're talking about so we can understand what the hell we're talking about. And how sometimes in our speaking, it's like, well, wait a minute, it's time to let everything just fall. Let's let it fall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's let it fall, let everything just fall away. Then there is further potential, there's further possibility when everything falls away. So never mind half empty, half full. When the glass is empty, then there's amazing possibilities, potentially. Mm-hmm. If it's half anything, it's limited. So I'm saying that the more we can just let everything fall.
Mm-hmm. Right. But see, yes. And
see what more. Like the zero in a decimal point placement. Mm-hmm. So you give me some zero to the left of the decimal point, that's one thing. And so it's kind of where we place where's our consciousness placed? Is it on past, present? Is it on stories? Where's our consciousness placed? That's as valuable as zeros to the left of the decimal point. That's very valuable.
So where it's placed. Yeah.
It says it's fertile potential, but it's empty fertile potential, not full fertile potential, because then that's overflow. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. What you say?
I say it's amazing.
No, it is. It is. Yeah, but see, that's the thing, because I could tell you where it's focused. It's focused on, ABC and Instagram.
That's called the being of human being, which is not much further, which is not too much possibility. That's the being of human being, which is not too much possibility beyond what it already has been.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and but then that is a being of human being because you can let go, and it is good to let go. But everyone, I mean, you let go until you pick it back up. You let go. So okay, so I let go for 40 minutes, and I saw the seventh heaven, and that was amazing. And then I picked it back up and made a sandwich.
You
It
let go.
stubbed my toe and cussed.
You let go of operating as though you are your human identity. And so you are your identity, because we all have an identity and a personality. So if you let go of who you are as your identity, personality, or personality identity, you can see, well, let's see, well.
But the reason it's true. No, that's right. But see, we all gotta to living and experiencing life is, or at least a part of it is, you're picking something up. See, that's how. See, because then when you know someone, you know what's gonna make them laugh. You know what's gonna get a little rise out of them, and so then so I stepped down from that allness,
Mhm.
and I stepped down in order to say, like, I'm gonna have to let me tell you what this. You won't believe what this motherfucker did. Listen, and then now we step down, but that's part of life. We got to step down.
That's
Or
right.
I don't want to go to this restaurant. I want to go to this restaurant, and then and now that's part of life. You got to step down, so you got to let it go and pick it up. Life is
Exactly.
that yin and
But
yang.
listen, listen to this. You step down, which is important, and when you step back up again, you may get your vote counted. Like, who you think you are, or like who what?
Yeah,
You don't get too much agreement. There's ready to go higher and higher, and you don't. There's not
yeah,
more agreement to be in the drama and the craziness. With all due respect,
right.
there's
Yeah. See,
more
that's
agreement. There's more agreement. There's more familiar. So collective is more. Is collective. There's
yeah,
more familiarity within the collective consciousness.
yeah,
And so, and then so going stepping up, it may be uncomfortable for some who may feel
yeah.
at risk in some way, feel threatened in some way, insecure in some way. And then you haven't passed some more laws. you have,
Right. Yeah.
you have, you have, different. You have a peaceful movement. Okay, but I'm just saying, it's the play. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Vibrational frequencies, the play of frequencies.
It is.
Yeah,
And then back to the news. I said it's a lower chakra or stepping down
yeah.
that will get the attention. And it almost feels safer.
Well, yeah.
If I turn on the news and it's 9/11 COVID all over again, I almost feel better just sitting here and they say, yep, they called in work. They said, don't come to work because we all fucked up now. And I
It's
almost feel better unless it touches me too close, like those wildfires. It was like, Lord,
yeah,
Lord, oh my God, Lord.
exactly. But look at this. It's safer by agreement.
Right.
But if we have enough people agree, then it's approved. It's approved. Then because we have
Yeah.
approval, everyone
Yeah.
be approval and to be a part of and to belong. Okay. So who you are as your personality identity, is can be influenced given your sense of being accepted, approval, agreement,
Mm-hmm.
and when you step outside of them, look and say, hey, look, then you get looked at like, excuse me, don't you know, don't you understand?
Yeah.
And so when I was at the hospital visiting my dad, and of course, he's 101, I'm 83, so there's a long history there, all kind of stories and there, all kind of blah 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 memories there.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it was nowhere. It was like it was nowhere. I wasn't inside of that being there. I was just simply being there. I wasn't inside of anything being there. I was simply being there in full presence, not inside of anything, not inside of a history, not inside of a story, not inside of whatnot. And no, just being there, not inside of anything. That was so, and it was so pure and so beautiful. Because I've
Mhm.
had stories this many years, so many years, and
Mhm.
I've been slowly falling away because I've been doing my deeper work. So of letting go of, the identity, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just saying, and I'm going to share this with you. I made a note out of that to myself, which I decided, and I've been creating book notes. I decided a book note for journaling. So I was just walking, just hanging out in the field of awareness being. And here's what came. So we can hang out in the field of awareness, okay, without processing anything. Because you process, you get in the way. Because that's coming from our personality, our time born, all kinds of stuff. So we have time born, all kinds of stuff. But when you're not wrapped up inside your time born, this and that, it's an amazing thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so,
Judge not, lest you be judged.
exactly, and you're not losing yourself. You're coming into what you really are. Because people say, "Well, no, because this is who I am." Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like really, that's who you really?
Mm-hmm.
And I get all of that. But this note for journaling is sad, because I was so reflecting on your message on Sunday, in so many ways, so many ways. But I made these bottom line notes. The now of now. If I were to ask, what about the now of now? What's that? Like a present opportunity. That's the now now. If I were to ask the past of when, I would say reflective memories once lived or not. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to say the future, I would say the future of then, potential probabilities, possibly or not.
Yeah.
So I was just in the field of awareness, looking at just in the field of awareness. And so I made a note here, please, please make journal notes, because you have to walk around inside of everything. So if I walk around inside of these notes, who knows?
Right.
Yeah. So if it's important to you to hang on to what was, when might be, this,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening, what happened, what might be, hang on to that. To me, you are limiting. You are constricting. You are, what you say, you're stepping down a little bit further and further
Mm-hmm.
and further and further.
Yeah, but then Jesus said the world will hate you, but they hated me first. If you stay up, you know,
In the
yeah. If someone said, "Man, guess what Trump did?" and you just like, well, what do you do? See, no,
but,
you got to get into it with them.
but within the ideal of what we are, what
Who cares?
where is Trump? Within the
Yeah.
ideal of what we are you ascribing something to and is
Mm-hmm.
Trump?
Yep.
Or your daddy or mama, I mean,
Yeah.
whomever. It's the
Your
same,
friend, your enemy. Yeah. Right. Yep.
same difference. Because you or
Mm-hmm.
then you have then stepped back into reflective memories, lived or not, like how you feel about it, how you
Yeah. You're
feel.
living it.
Yeah, how
It's
you.
not lived or not. That's why it's lived or not, because it's you're living it.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to go, well, wait a minute. And I like you. I've heard me say this before. I like that guy, Khalil Gibran, who got exiled for writing all this beautiful
Yeah.
pieces. He said, "What you call time? Listen, we create time. There's no is time. We create time. When we linger and tarry, oh, is that what we call time? He says, what you there's no lingering, there's no tarrying. Everything like the breath is a flow. There's no loss of breath. If you count your breath, there's no loss of breath by taking the next breath, in the flow, because the next breath is in the flow of the breath. There's not 1, 2, 3, 4. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because if that was the case, that'd be a pause, and if there was a pause, that'd be problematic to your body being oxygenated. And I'm just saying, if you really stop and be with this in the context of, especially your message of past Sunday and other ones too, you like, oh, wait a minute, what did he say about all these the single is, that this is, all the physics and geometry and mathematics. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see myself. Let me look at what I am within that context. Let me look at what I am within that context.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that's really what it is to receive a message. If it doesn't, if I then fail to look at what I am within that context, what was going on that I only heard and I didn't receive such a
Mm-hmm.
such a powerful offering. That's what I'm saying. So I was sitting there Sunday going, wow, I would love to be with people to pause and interact with everything you just said. I mean, that would be so amazing to me to have an interactive discussion, what's called dialectic sermon message.
Yeah, why not?
That
Yeah.
would be, because I'm telling you, it was so rich and so powerful, because there's too much uh, focus. Because if you focus on something, you energize it. Like the whole conversation about this guy Kirk and all that. If you focus on it, you're energizing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I just declined to be
Yeah.
an issue with it. I go, well, that's like my aunt would say years ago. She said, little lady, everything is everything. And I finally I go, oh, everything is everything. So if everything is everything, what is it? It's so, since
Mm-hmm.
it comes, it's not something, it's nothing. But the nothing is this, that's that potential.
Mm-hmm. And then it's what you make it.
That says then you have to own being source. You have to own being cause. You have to
Bottom line.
you have to call your own, look at your own nature. What is the nature of your nature? What was the nature of the man called Jesus? What's the nature of the man called whomever, the woman called, what is the nature? And so you get into that kind of conversation. And that's why I love the science of mind. Because if you use the word science of mind, well, let's see how what, that's why your Wednesday call this week discussing these topics. It's so important, because we have to take a moment. That's why, what's that really said? Study to show thyself approved workman unto God. So what am I calling God? And what am I calling myself? And all of that. Jesus said, when you see me, you have seen what sent me. You've seen the consciousness that sends me forth, the consciousness that has me out here. You've seen the consciousness of my consciousness that has me out here. And so I just think that there's so much more to everything than anything we've known.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's more to everything. Absolutely. Hmm.
So my dad said, what year is this? He said 101. He said 2025. He says, my sister said, subtract your subtract your birth year from 2025. He said, I'm 101. So yeah. He goes, he's in awe.
Yeah,
And the thing about it is, in the next 5 minutes he may ask you that again. So he's not lingering in that. He's not
right.
stuck in that. He's not having that be about something else. He's just like,
Yeah, it's proven time's not real.
yeah, like David. In awe. Oh Lord, how amazing. Oh, that has, wow.
Yeah. Hmm.
We have to find
Thy handiworks.
yeah, we have to find the awe, because we are the handiworks. I am the handiworks What I
Yeah.
am is the handiworks of creation. The
So
handiworks.
yeah, but see, this is where, to me, what bear your cross means. It's not like, oh, it's guilty. It's actually when you walk in a full love, Christ consciousness, above, not worrying about race, not worrying about everybody want to argue about this and that, and you having too much fun. Like I said, you having too much fun now. Now you will bear your cross.
Oh, you will. Don't forget, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. Yay! Don't forget, crucified, crucified, because there's not any agreement to walk in the higher road, not a collected. The agreement, the being of human being is there's no agreement to be. Jesus said, "No, you're not. That you're God. Did not say you can do this and so much more." There's no agreement for so much more. There's no agreement for
Yeah.
There's just excuses and blaming.
Right. Yeah.
It's just to pass the buck. Oh, give me a break. Pass the plate, not the buck. Put a buck in the plate.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Because now then you see you would have to bear the cross. So then the therapist would have to they sit there and listen for 10 minutes and then they go, it's your fucking fault. What's going to change? Yeah. And now they don't have no clients. So instead they got to step down.
Yeah. And have you come
they got to for 5 years.
Yeah. Because here's the whole thing. You're not ready for beyond where you are, because even though it's uncomfortable and painful, it's familiar. Because the familiar is more comfortable than the not familiar. So even though it's uncomfortable and painful, still it's known to you. It's still familiar. And that's more important sometimes than stepping out or stepping up or progressing forward. So we have to look at that, because some things are just scary, and some things are because there's so much static, and that can be very overwhelming, and people can become distressed by the static, but they're not willing to do anything about it because they don't want to disturb the static. You don't want to disturb the static, yeah. And so no one wants to be talked about and blamed. And and that whole blame starts in the book of Genesis.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And right, blame, exactly, right. But you gotta just take it on yourself. The blame
shame game starts in the book of Genesis, with all due respect.
It does. And also,
one more thing. Also, this versus that.
Yeah, right.
With the Adam Eve thing, the blame, shame, and then this versus that. If you read the story, that's separation and division starts in the book of Genesis.
That's the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. Because now once you have a knowledge of good and evil, of course you're good. So therefore, they are bad.
And the whole thing, what are we calling? What are we calling knowledge and what are we calling evil? That's the other thing. It's like words, because you have to look at that. The first place we have to look at since the Bible is a commissioned book, and you look by King James, I think it was, you have to look at the purpose, because if you can read in discernment, or you can read literally. You can read. That's why you have doctors and lawyers to interpret what it's talking about. So when you interpret what it's talking about, in our listening, our seeing, we're saying this is saying to us. Well, is it really saying that to us? Is it really saying that this apple? Is it really saying that this serpent? Is it really saying that? Or is there an encoded message in this for us? And so I just think that I just think it's true. I heard this Dr. Philip Nicola say, it is true. Every word in the Bible is truly written. However, you have a question, what is it the best of truth as written? And so because I remember at one time I was so afraid to think outside of the religious indoctrination, thinking that I was going to be immediately damned and sent to hell and cursed forever. I don't think so. I don't think there was an is God who said, okay, I have to have one more other than the human race because Adam is a human race. That's why they went to other countries and found wives and things. But I had the one more, whose purpose is to redeem everybody else by dying and shedding blood. I mean, when you think about, no, what is that really
Hmm.
talking about? And so I just think that we have to begin to talk more about what we're talking about, not in terms of, not based on how we already understand it or what we already know, but to see what comes out of that. Is there anything further, is there anything more, given the infinity of everything? And I'm just interested in knowing what more, if anything, you know, I'm interested in that. And I don't think that's sacrilegious or blasphemous. I just think that given the infinity of everything, beginningless and endless, and I was having that conversation today about, I go, huh, the immortality of mortality. And I think that was a chapter in my dissertation. I did my doctorate, metaphysical doctorate. I go, the immortality of mortality. I thought that's a great sorting out, you know? And so when I look, if everything really is non-physical before it's physical, then my non-physical must be greater than the physical, because the non-physical is not changing and all that. So I said, Eric, if my new hands are going to look like this, I need some more rings. Some more rings. Because my new hand, I said, let me mediate my new hands, And so just kind of playful and having fun, but at the same time, this whole thing is like, wow, it's amazing to look and see that everything is constant. Everything is constant. Everything is constant. So what has me locked into any particular
Hmm.
squaring off
Yeah,
or
that.
squaring off and having all kind of drama? Because everything is constant. Every single thing. Like you in your message Sunday, if the earth for 1 second were to stop, it would be catastrophic.
Hmm.
It's a continuous.
Yeah.
If it
Hmm.
ever from a pause for 30 seconds, believe me, it wouldn't work. So
Yeah.
everything, including everything, like music, bling,
Mhm.
you know, or everything is motion. And it's so slow until you don't realize you go to bed. My answer, you go to bed a young woman and wake up an old one, you don't realize
Hmm.
it because it's so subtle and so gracious, so beautiful. So I'm
Hmm.
just saying that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, then maybe it's more in, it's not just in the reading of, say, the Bible. It really is the interpretation of how you take it, because, and you take it like you've been taught to take it
Yeah,
by the same whoever, or, that's why I preach from the Bible every week, and it's the same stories that everybody else is picking to preach from. But I have, it's more my interpretation of whatever, what is a download even, but it's a download perhaps from, on a good day, maybe it's from a higher chakra energy level versus what we've been taught is, you're going to burn in hell, boy, or every story, we know what that means, we know what that means, we know what that means. But even Sun Stands Still, for example, that is, or in my father's house, there are many mansions. That already has a collective consciousness around it.
exactly.
But that's not all there is to it, though.
No, because you have to ask who has been my teachers and who were their teachers and who were their teachers and who said they had it right. you know, so
Yeah.
who has been my teachers? And so you look at that generational interpretations and perceptions and ideas and meanings and
Mm-hmm.
answers. So you look at that, and I'm thinking, and then sometimes every once in a while you get something that just, wow, you haven't heard it, you haven't been taught it, you just get something like, oh, oh. And I think I've thought for a long time that whole cross story about Jesus. And I'm not sure he had not already transcended at that point when they say he was crucified, or if he was ever on the cross, or if he was there at the time of blah blah blah. But one thing according to the seven last week, he said, I think he said, "Oh, for this purpose I was born."
Yeah.
So what if whatever you're talking about, for this purpose I came forth,
Yeah.
an original, not a carbon copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came with this for this. I wasn't given this. I came with this for this purpose. So what is the purpose? So I in 1997, I asked myself, and I used to give this assignment to people who worked with me in different ways. What is the question that your life answers? It's just to be with that, and don't make up shit. You know, what is the question that your life answers? So first you have to go, what is my, in terms of being, not doing, not having, but what is my intention in being, which has nothing to do with doing or having.
Yeah.
So what is my intention? And so what does my intention fulfill? If I say I have to go, that's the next part. A is, what is my intention? Not in doing heaven. What does my intention fulfill? Which has nothing to do with you having something or doing something. Something's fulfilled. And as a result, what is the question that my life answers? That's great journaling. And we can continue this conversation next time we come together.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, real quick, I've sat with that question. Would you say what is yours? You would say it's around making a difference. The question that your life answers.
I say my intention. What is my intention? And what does my intention fulfill? And as a result of my intention being fulfilled, what is the question that my life answers? So when I wrote, I told you I'll finish it. Then I wrote about maybe 8 lines. It said, my life answers the question, what is God in the flesh? So therefore, my intention then is to be a student of the still small voice within. That's my intention, to be a student of the still small voice within, to be a flower in bloom, willing to open, willing to blossom, a willingness to open, willingness to blossom, to be watered in dry places, to willing to be fluid, to let go, to surrender. Okay. And as a result, my life answers the question, what is God in the flesh? That in 1997. And so, as a result, what I find is and that's really real. It find that when I would, become contentious and not cooperate, I must open. And sometimes, in my personal identity, I'm tired of owning, but I must open. And I must, sometimes when I would, like, I must flow. And when I don't, I would rather not in my personality identity. Use that, what, out of me. But my intention is so much greater than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
Yeah, and the question my life answers for this is that, that's so real. So that's something more real for me than whatever it is that's before me.
Yeah.
And I've had, and given that intention, I've had some really major opportunities to practice that.
Yeah.
Major opportunities to be called to test that.
Yeah.
I have to come back to my intention every time and find my grounding. And sometimes I'd rather not. I'd rather go into, but because when our identity feels like who we are as an identity feels like rubbed on, I'd rather respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my intention to,
Mm-hmm.
for the question of my life answers. To be a student
Yeah.
feels like that's so. So I think it's important to have some grounding.
Yeah.
And so then I had two words that I do my best to remember: um, happy and boundless. I go, am I happy with where I am with myself? Am I happy? It's either yes or no. I cannot fool myself. I have to be authentic with myself. Do I feel limited and pressed upon? I must let some stuff go. And as my identity, would I rather not let stuff go? No, I'd rather have them too than give it back to you and make you wrong. I'd rather, and when I'm going through that, I'll tell myself, this is about nothing. Practice. This is about nothing. Remember, because it sure seems like something. It feels like something.
And then you tell poor Eric you would pop the balloon on him.
Yeah, I did.
No, I love it. Yeah.
I did. He made me pay too. He got me real good. And I was coming up laughing. I said, that was real good. That was real good. So I've learned to laugh. And it's genuine too. I'm not making up laugh. It cracks me up.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I've sat with that. And my life, my intention, the question is, how wonderful are we?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can put that in the first person present tense too. You can
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's right. That's actually right. No, that's really right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. See, yeah, people. That's true. That's right. But see, then you go bear the cross, though. But that's true. But that's why maybe I make it a we, because I still have to lead the way in that intention of healing, of inspiration, of joy, really inspiration, joy.
You lead that by being that, by radiating.
Absolutely.
Okay, because that's what's magnetizing vibrationally.
Yeah.
Vibrationally, that's what's magnetizing. So like I tell you, I say, you make me a better person, because when I can see when I can, like I said, he's like, okay, he's seeing, and I go, okay, you make me a better person. all that capacity you have reminds me that I too have capacity.
Right. How wonderful are you? That's what all in it too. How wonderful are we? How wonderful am I? How wonderful are we? How wonderful are you? And how wonderful are they? That's why I won't shut up about MAGA. I can't let y'all keep talking too low. Not because I love Trump white people so much, but because of what you said about this conversation. Really, how wonderful. They're just as wonderful as you are. So as you judge.
Yeah, I think Cafe Gratitude, the question at Cafe Gratitude today was, what are you surrendering today? That's great inquiry. I remember once when I asked the question, I had this group of women who had children who were in the arts, becoming, actors in the entertainment world. And I had the questionnaire to get to know who the parent were a little bit, so I know how to work with them, working with their children. And so I said, as a child, what did you do for fun? One lady had a fit. She said, I didn't do a goddamn thing for fun. I didn't have any goddamn fun. Oh, I wasn't prepared for that. I really wasn't. She said, I didn't have any goddamn fun. I go, oh, okay. I went, whoa. I had to collect myself quick and fast, because she was on one. I had to give her space to be on one.
Mm-hmm.
What I could give her was the space to be on one. Because she didn't have any space to play, so I could be that space where she could be. But it cut me. She doesn't know to this day how wow. I go, there's space for everyone. What's that song say? There's enough room for everyone in this room. There's enough room for everyone.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It is.
In this thing called life, in this place called earth, because there's so many aspects of what we are. And so we can't just be stuck in a single aspect as an identity of ourselves. It's too small. It's too small. So I really appreciate, like I said, if you all of us have all this capacity. I'm serious. You know I am. I'm serious.
No, no, yeah, yeah.
All that capacity. He's including, he's letting them, he's allowed, he got,
Yeah, because how wonderful are they?
it's true.
Absolutely,
It's
yeah.
very true. And to really let, and here's the thing, it's so important to let that in because you came with that for that purpose.
That's right.
And to let that in is so important. Because one of the things I have found working with people, the one thing for people that's missing is really being acknowledged. Something about you that has never been acknowledged. Something about you that has never been acknowledged. That was so important. What would you like to be acknowledged for? And then you can really open that up. That's an amazing, by the way, that's an amazing ritual to have with all of us, who appreciate your capacity.
Well, how would that? What I just tell people, acknowledge people,
So
or what?
to ask people, what
Yeah,
about you
yeah.
that you have never experienced being acknowledged for, that you would be open to being acknowledged? I found that was amazing. And it's simple stuff too. It's not complex stuff.
Yeah.
And so because what happens because then people really get that they matter, that they make a difference, that they are seen, that they are recognized. That's so important for people to get. And so like take the hospital other day. When my dad, he said, he's always said that to me, but there was so much static in the way.
Right.
He said, I love you from the tip of your uh, bottom of your feet to the tip of your head. And it was such a beautiful place. It's like I really felt that. There was no and there was no and there was no anything. It was just pure. It was so
Yeah.
beautiful. I can't tell you how beautiful that was. When everything falls away, and at some point, if you're so blessed with that moment, before we leave the physical, when everything is stripped away, and you have that moment when everything is stripped away. And I saw that with Anime, who gave birth to me. I saw when there was nothing there, everything was stripped away. It was so precious and so beautiful. It's like, wow, she was able to feel love and let it in. She was able to feel it and to let it in when everything is stripped away. And so my dad, there was nothing there with him, and there was nothing there with me. Here we are. There's nothing there. It's like, wow. So I held his hands, and it was just like the most amazing moment in my life. That one. And I told about that. When I got that I had a real mother, I always did. And I always had a mother. I was never on my own. When I got that, I've been badass ever since.
That's pretty good.
When Eric,
So that's all in the month of September. That's pretty good.
yeah. When Eric said, "You're on your own," I said, "I'm not on my own." And I heard the little girl, "I've never been on my own." Don't say that. I always had a mother, and I have a husband. I'm not on my own. Don't say that. And it was something about that. It was something about that. It's what came out of that. It's not what took place, but what came out of that was amazing. So everything else is a process. Everything else is en route to that. But what came out of that was like, that was the benevolent grace. That was the beauty. That was the salvation. That. So when we can allow ourselves to let everything go, what comes out of that is what they call, I will pour forth blessings until you shall say enough. Isn't that scripture something like that?
Sounds like something, yeah.
Monster house. No, you
Oh
can't
yeah.
fill the storehouse if you come with stuff. You can't come with
Hmm.
stuff and fill the storehouse, you know. It's like I will pour you out blessings, and
Yes.
you shall say, "Oh, all is well." It doesn't mean you're gonna get stuff. It's like, "Oh, all is well." Hallelujah, fucking hallelujah. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that. That.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, absolutely.
I see
Absolutely.
you,
Yeah.
Dr. Seth. I see you. You know I see you.
You see me?
Yeah. You
What
know,
do you see? What do you see? Help me out. What do you
because
see?
I went to the doctor today, to the ophthalmologist,
Okay.
and so and he said, "Oh," he said, "Boy, your chest," and I had every kind of eye test you can think of. They X-rayed my eyes, before all kind of stuff. He said, uh, "You don't come back. You come back in a year. You know, for your and rather than come back 3 months, 6 months, because they can't
Hmm.
figure
Hmm.
this out. There was nothing to figure out. See, I was
Hmm.
clear that that's their process. It wasn't mine." But I'm respectful because I want to keep abreast of things in case I don't want to miss anything. So I'm going to include all of it. And so he said, "You can come back next year. Come back in a year." And I said, "Okay." He says, "Yeah, your test book, I already know that." So I said, Eric said, "You read all those little lines?" Because I didn't have my glasses. I don't use those a lot, but sometimes they're important. Not always. Today they weren't important. So he said, "You read all those little lines?" I said, "Boy, I aced that." Eric said, he didn't ace his test. The last one. So I said, "Boy," because I said, and I have that bad saying "boy" because I like what is it, El Cid? What's it, El Cid, the comedian? He is
Not
so
sure.
funny. El Cid, he always says bye, bye when he was in prison. So I have that back up, bye, boy. I said, but I aced that test. So I said, I read all of it, just about. So we started laughing, you know. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, I see your presence, Dr. Seth. I see your presence. I see your I wouldn't say aura, but I see your presence. I see your presence. I yeah, I see your presence. You're non-physical. I see your polarity. I see the polarity of your physical polarity of your physical. I see your presence. You know, I see behind the smile, beneath the face. I see, yeah. And you see me seeing.
I think so. Yeah.
I know
Well,
so.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's true. Well, it's true. And we are, it's all in how you look at it. But I know that as this thing of time is going on and on, I've always said, really my whole life, I said, damn, it's been 2,000 years. Can somebody just be God yet?
Yeah,
Like, well,
yeah. It's
yeah.
true. It's true. When I left my dad's Baptist church, I said, "He's been waiting on Jesus 2,000 years. I'm gonna get up see if I can meet him. I got to meet him. I'm not
Yeah.
waiting. I'm not waiting. I got to meet him somewhere. Somewhere he must be here by now. I mean, it's like, and it said the the appearance of things is not what it is. So you're looking, but how about if you stop looking and begin to see? Because they're different things. Looking is eyesight, seeing is insight. So if you're seeing from within you, insight is from within. Eyesight is from the without, bringing in. But I'd rather bring into what I see than have what I see bring into me. So I'd rather be
Hmm.
seeing distinct from the looking.
Yeah. You can generate it, or you can just interpret what you see in front of you. That's, yeah, walk by faith or walk by sight, essentially.
Oh yeah, because if you're seeing something was revealed to you that your eyesight won't give you,
Hmm.
there is,
Yeah.
there is, yeah. So
Yeah, you can only see again back to that third dimension. I didn't even get to
see exactly.
dreams. There's the past, there's the future, there's the dreams, there's the astral. There's 20 of those that are all non-physical vision. Hypnosis, there's 25 of those.
Yeah. So ultimately, ultimately, there is this distinction called all seeing. Ultimately, that's a journey because all seeing doesn't include what you have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you have seen will shape what you see. so, so you know it's time for us to get in this particular.
No, I was just going to laugh because I was going to say, so you're right. All seeing, that is really a journey, but somewhere on the way you get to this point where you can say, who says this? I understand many things. I'm extremely comprehensive. That's on the way to all seeing.
And that's true. That is so true. I tell the little girl, I go, oh, please go away, sweetheart. But no, she's still, I'm thinking, she's not, she's just in feelings. And I said, I'm extremely comprehensive. And I could feel where it came from because I could feel when I said that, I could feel where it was coming from. And I don't know what that was like for her, but I felt where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I was a sister girl, I would have said the F out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, go away. And then she kept yak, 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 yak. And I and I don't do this. I don't do this because, I said in my career I was an analyst. So now that's another. It's just to me, it's just a cue. Then she said, she going, Miss Prissy, Miss Prissy. And she said, what did you analyze? I said, statistics and human behavior. And I didn't mean any harm, but it was a non-conversation. She was engaging me when I wasn't open to being engaged because she was not, I wasn't interested in her. I wasn't interested in her conversation with me. So I'm being polite to make that known. But
Yeah.
no, she's gonna push it.
Oh, that's right. So don't say, you don't have to say, I'm extremely comprehensive. I understand many things. Just say, or I was an analyst. Just say, please shut the fuck up.
Yeah, see, she got that right away. She got that right away. But I've been practicing these principles of having capacity because you keep it's your look. I'm not gonna call your name, but you keep showing me that capacity. So I go, okay, because I realize the different impact. I realize many things that I had not realized. I really do. I go, oh, people take offense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I go, oh, which doesn't make sense to me in spiritual communities or in church communities. I thought we were all here about, I really, because how I was raised, I mean, that was real. So I bought into it. I really did. And so, because I know my mother really wants me to cut out my tongue for not having said the truth. And I was very young. I was probably I was too young for that. I was maybe like 7 or 8 or 6, maybe 6 or 7, something like that. But that was so scary to me because I thought she really was going to do it. And then I went to the door and she said, "You better not run." So now I'm like, oh, between the scissors and the door.
Well, hey, kept you honest.
Yeah. So I tell you something. I think I go, I'm doing good to be as balanced as I am. I said, and if I wasn't, I would send myself to therapy. So, and I have gone, many, many years ago, and now just the work I do, it's really, keeping myself okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing thing for
Yeah, no, you really do.
whoever benefits from it, I'm grateful, but it's for myself. Mm-hmm. And so when I realized, I go, wow, if I really wrote a book about my life, and I was reading it, I go, wow, really? So, but everything's a part of everything. And out of all of it, I came into my purpose for being, which is being, which is simply being. That's it. Be it.
Okay, well, you're doing a good job of being. Keep being.
See, yeah, then I'm better with you. I go, I say, out this capacity, which I highly respect. Don't take me wrong.
No, I know.
Respect it, honor it, but it's like, because I all over. I see it. I can. Oh, what they doing now? Oh, I can. Oh, you. Okay. I go. That's capacity. Okay, that's capacity. So I just go to what that is capacity. Clara, don't have any opinion about it.
Yeah.
That's capacity.
In a sense, it's easier to have capacity, really, to just let it go and, it'll be all right.
Well, that's what's called for.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Everything works itself out,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting that. I'm getting the next level of that.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
I was about done with all of that. I was almost done with that. So it's like, oh no, you're not done. You nothing's ever over. How about nothing's ever over. Pre, now, and post, nothing's over. Pre, now, and post, nothing's ever over.
Yeah.
So and my life answers the question.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, nothing's ever over except for this conversation for now.
Yeah, and it opens again.
That's right. So it's not over. It's not over.
It opens. It's open-ended into beginning. It's open-ended into beginning. Beginnings with an S.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, beautiful. Another Ma Mosley Monday. Further conversation. And much appreciated, and peace of anyone.
The Dr. Seth Pickens, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader at the Guidance Church of Religious Science, 7225 Crenshaw Boulevard. You want to get some amazing downloads? Come and see us.
That's right. We'll see y'all soon. And, let Dr. Clara just stare at you. She'll figure the whole thing out in about 5 seconds. All right. It'll be fun.
All right. Until in the then.
All right. In the then.
Okay. Good night.